Let's talk firewalls. A firewall is a device or application designed to protect a network or individual computer from intrusion. And there's two main types that you should know. The personal software firewall is the first one. This is an application that's loaded on your computer, whether it's a mobile device or a PC or laptop or what have you, and it protects that individual computer from unwanted internet traffic. And it usually does so by way of a set of rules and policies. One example is the Windows firewall. This is built into Windows. If we go to the control panel and scroll down to Windows Firewall, we can click on that and bring that up, and that's our Windows Firewall built into this. And you can see here that it's not on right now. Generally, if you see this on a computer, you'll probably want to turn it on. So we'll click on the link and turn it on for the private and for the public. Okay it, and we're good to go, and everything's green check marked. Also in Windows, you have the Windows Firewall with advanced security, and you can bring that up by going to the run prompt and typing wf.msc. And I'll drag that window over. And this is a lot more in depth. You have all kinds of rules for what you're doing on your computer, inbound and outbound, so you can really configure this guy in more depth. So Windows Firewall with advanced security. Other examples include zone alarm. And also for Linux, you have IP firewall and IP tables. So there's all kinds of options as far as personal firewalls go. The other type is going to be the network-based firewall. And a network-based firewall protects an entire network of computers from intrusion from the internet. And generally, you're talking about a device, a standalone device. This could be as simple as one of those 4-port Soho routers that has a built-in firewall, or it could be a standalone appliance, a black box, something by Cisco or Checkpoint or Juniper or whatever. And let's show an example. Let's illustrate this. If you look here, we have a set of computers connected to a switch, and then they are connected out through the firewall. Now, you'd probably have a router here also, or this would be an all-in-one device or what have you, but we're depicting the firewall here as a separate device, which is behind the switch or behind the router. That's how it's considered. So these computers are on the LAN. They connect through the firewall and out to the internet, so they can make connections to computers and servers on the internet, but those computers will not be able to connect to these. The servers on the internet will not be able to connect to these because they'll bounce off the firewall if it's configured properly. And generally, the firewall will include NAT filtering, or network address translation endpoint filtering, and that filters ports, TCP and UDP ports. And it does this by matching the incoming and outgoing traffic and making sure that all the IP addresses correspond. And the firewall will also do packet filtering. It'll inspect each packet passing through the firewall and accept it or reject it based on a set of rules. And the most common type is stateful packet inspection. That's SPI. With stateful packet inspection, it's looking at the actual packets. It's breaking them down and making sure that they are the type of packets that are acceptable. Stateless packet filtering does not do that, and it doesn't retain a memory of packets that have passed through the firewall, so not as good. But generally, you're going to use SPI, stateful packet inspection. Let's show an example of that. Okay, once again, here's our AC1750 Soho all-in-one device. And here's the firewall setting, and we have SPI, stateful packet inspection, and it is enabled. And that's what you want. You want to make sure that that is enabled so that you can have this packet inspection, and the firewall will block the packets that you don't want. If we go to the advanced security section, you'll see that we can enable filtering for different types of attacks, like ICMP floods, which are basically ping packets, and UDP floods, TCP synchronization floods. So, you could do a lot of this. You might set it to a particular amount of packets. Like we could set this to 10. And this way, if you're external from the router and you want to see if it actually works still, you could ping it and you'll get replies. But if you try to do more than 10, like if you did a -n space 50 with your ping command, then this router would block it because that would go past the threshold. So you have some thresholds that you can set here. So it's pretty cool. So that's a little bit about the firewall built into this router. And keep in mind that that firewall could be built into your Soho router. It could be an all-in-one device. It could be part of a unified threat management solution, but in some cases it'll just be its own device, and you'll have your computers, your switch, your router, and then your firewall, which is behind all that. And that's your first line of defense against intrusion from computers on the internet. So that's it for this sub lesson.